Hello, everybody. I hope you're having a wonderful morning. And today I would like to go over the XRP price chart. So, as we can see here, we obviously got a move down. Yesterday, that's the daily candle, somewhat of an indecision candle. We broke below the low. I was hoping that we could bottom um, around this area of, maybe 2.76. But it just didn't happen. Of course not. We broke down out of the structure, and I think this was a great place for longs to accumulate. This structure right here, I'm going to show you guys why this structure is not as important to the macro for XRP in multiple ways, but this structure right here pretty much had longs throughout the whole thing, right? So it's making a consolidation, buyers and sellers. And so pretty much anyone that's long from this area here, from this high to this low, anyone that's long in here from the 20th of July just got flushed to the downside. And I believe that that was definitely accumulation, by people with lots of money. That's a great place to accumulate. And how do you accumulate large amounts of orders? There has to be an ask, and then there has to have someone willing to sell it to you. So in order to accumulate large amounts, 2.8 was a huge level that we talked about, and we got somewhat of a bounce at 2.8. I'll zoom in a second, but we got somewhat of a bounce here at 2.8. There was absorption, so people were definitely picking up buy orders here. But the thing is they're not they're not tied to this level of 2.8. I mean, if price comes down further, like 2.7, like it did, I mean, they're willing to add to their position and average in at a better price, and they pretty much were able to get the liquidity for it by breaking the structure to the downside. And that's a potential scenario. I'm not saying that we can't go lower because there could be a better price to accumulate, but as of right now, I still see the potential for the structure to move up. I believe we're in a macro bull market and we're going to keep going. I mean, we're making a consolidation structure. The real structure, I mean, the reason why this isn't as important right here, I mean, now it's more of a falling wedge, right? But pretty much, but pretty much this isn't the structure, right? This is a pullback in a larger structure that already happened. This is already a substructure. I don't need to go to the large macro time frame, 2017 to 2025, for everyone to see, because I think we're all very aware of that larger structure. But here's a smaller fractal structure after the breakout. And this is just chop in that same macro breakout of this substructure. And if you measure the structure, let's even go a little more conservative like that. And then let's see, we put you in the middle around there. Yeah, well, take it from me, we haven't reached the target of this larger macro pattern, and now we're in a substructure here that still hasn't reached target, and I believe this is just a pullback in the breakout of the first substructure. This was almost a trap so that longs could be accumulated before we really got our bull run. Where's the bull run, right? Other assets haven't participated. It's not something you would expect from a blow off top by any means, or from a top, And again, we have a flat bottom candle here on the 1 day. But that's neither here nor there. And, I do expect price to trade back into the zone right here. So as of right now, we're turning around, on MACD and relative strength indicators. So we're looking like we could turn around. You can always find a time frame that fits, but here's a good one on the 12-hour. you're getting a turn here in momentum. So you might see a green streak here, right? You might see a green streak come out of here, and you might get somewhat of a bullish move off this low. So we're going to see if that holds. Hopefully it does. That's a great place for price to hold. You took out everyone from this entire structure from, July 20th, and now you have your bags full. We're ready to run. But as far as XRP goes, like there is possibilities that, you get a move up like this, right? So you get a move up like this, you come down to a low point. Let's just say it's not perfect, but let's say you come down to a low point, come down to a low point, and then maybe you get this move here, and then one more flush with a large candle to grab liquidity. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to happen. I'm saying it is possible, but it looks like as of right now, 2.7 held. And I took a picture of the heat map before we ever got down to that area, back when we were getting absorption at 2.8. And I saved a picture of the heat map. I'm going to pull it up for you guys. And there was a level of accumulation at 2.7. I wasn't sure if we were going to reach all the way down to this band. This is when 2.8 pretty much got taken. But I didn't know if we were going to reach all the way down to 2.7. But hey, it's a better entry for longs here. And there was a large amount of orders sitting here. And then price bounced at 2.7. Like these are the levels. We already knew. But price did fall further, unfortunately. So I'm going to go back to the charts here. And so we're still waiting for this overall target, and we're still waiting for the macro pattern overall target. So we're just in fractals on fractals as of now. So I'm going to cover a few different things. One of the charts where XRP didn't break down, this is my new favorite chart, by the way, guys. One of the fractals where XRP didn't break down is in XRP BTC. So XRP versus Bitcoin hasn't broken down yet under this low. That tells me that this recent move was more of a, Bitcoin weakness. So Bitcoin was very weak, dragged everything down. But versus Bitcoin, XRP did keep its consolidation in the structure. So of course, my new favorite structure, we're going to be looking if that low holds. And if that low doesn't hold, does something like that hold? And then does something like that hold? Right? But potentially, this low here of 2477 could hold, right? It's a good pattern as of right now. I'm gonna take these off because it's a little confusing, but you're getting your traditional XRP consolidation here. First wave, second wave, third wave, all in line, all perfect height, so we haven't broke down at the structure yet. We're getting a turn in the relative strength. We could get chopped like this. Don't get me wrong. We can get chopped like this, but we could also come out of it and get a potential move that looks like this. So we'd be right there. And then it could, if we get any grain here, if we cross over, then, we could at least get a relief rally here. That puts us back in the funnel. So what would the funnel be of the third wave? This area right here. So at least a relief move up will put us closer into the funnel, into the safety of this pattern. You don't want to hang out too long here and just, break down. So we're going to see how this pattern pans out. It's something great to watch, it held. And then as far as other things, I'm just going to look at the normal indices real quick. Where? Right there. Yeah, so, okay. So got a little intraday wick here, but yeah, not too much interesting on the normal indices as of right now. And let's go ahead and go back to XRP, and we're going to look at a smaller time frame. We can discuss, where we're at right now. Um, 15 minutes. Bitcoin looks like it could be getting somewhat of a reversal here. Um, this is where we left off on the last episode, and I was explaining these liquidity voids, and you get stuff like this when price is uneven. It looks something like that. Get stuff like that when price is uneven. Took us down to the 15. That's a good time frame. Okay, that's actually not it's not flat, but these are your flat areas right here. Get something like that potentially come up, and it treats this level as an area. Treats this level as an area. Skips again. Choppy price action. Treats this level as an area. Has to get filled over here with these nice wicks. Um, so where we are in the really small time frame right now for XRP. This candle was new. When I started the video, this candle hadn't showed up yet, so that's a sign for hope. But as far as XRP, we really came down, took out that liquidity wall at 2.7. We came down to it. There was large accumulation, bounced right off of it twice. This one really dipped right into it. But normally, if you're defending a wall, you don't want price to just like slice right through the middle of it. And we didn't. We just barely touched that thing. It got defended, bids got refreshed, and we just pushed straight up right there. How was the price action down here, by the way? Well, since these are our new lows, this looks good to me. There's no flat price. There was one here. There's no liquidity void, so there's one there. Got filled. Um, you had your normal stuff here. And look down here. To me, this looks like balanced price action at the bottom. Now, I'm not saying we can't come lower, of course, but I'm saying we potentially have a shot here with the XRP fractal and where we're at in the macro cycle. We potentially have a shot here of this being the bottom, and price action does look clean. You got a nice consolidation here, the wick on the bottom of this candle, perfect. Good wicks all the way up, lots of good price action here. Got one there, got filled already. So where are we at now? I'm going to delete these. I already used the example, but I don't want anyone to get confused here. So where are we at right now? Well, you have a void right there at 2.78, but below that, we look good. And when price takes these areas to fill out the liquidity, it sometimes chops around in these areas. So it could actually come down. I'm not saying it will. Some of these areas do get left, but just something to take note of on a probability basis. But these areas get filled. When they get filled, usually they're going to have a little bit of price action in here to fill them out. So see this one right here, that fell bottom, you came up. Oh, is it a rally? No. And you came down and you filled this area out. How do I move this? I would like to move this. Okay. And you filled that area out, right? Over here. Excuse me. Let me move this. Okay. And you filled this area out, and it looks something like this. So when you take these areas out, sometimes you have a little chop. And if we get an explosive move away, some of these areas may never get revisited, but that would be extremely rare. So that's where we're at. We still have a chance, and this could potentially be the bottom. So I hope that everyone has a wonderful day, and thank you.